And welcome everybody to the latest Video Padre cast. And here we are once again. I'm joined by Fred, and we're going to be talking about, in this case, NBA 2K11. Over top of here, we have the video with the Blazers at Bulls 1992 NBA Finals, the Shrug game, which is a part of the Jordan Challenge, which, of course, having the cover dedicated to Michael Jordan and the multiple modes with the Jordan Challenge and the creating a legend with Michael Jordan. It's a big part of the marketing of the game, and it's a big part of the appeal of this year's game. Fred, you're you're a big Bulls fan. Obviously, you have the memories of the Bulls back in the Jordan days. How does this affect kind of your how you look at NBA 2K11 and your anticipation levels?
Well, I've always been an NBA 2K fan. Always bought the game every year. So this addition to the game is just even more reason for me to buy it. I was gonna buy it regardless. I heard about the Jordan mode initially, and I thought, that's kind of cool. But then once I started seeing like the how the rosters are accurate for the Bulls and the other great teams that they have in the game, to me that's just amazing to me. I've never really seen that to that detail in one of these basketball titles. So for me, this is definitely a plus. I think that if I wasn't going to get NBA 2K and I was thinking about NBA Elite, this would probably sway me to get this game
Mm,
instead.
yeah, and so you have the two different modes with Jordan. Other than just being on the historic teams, and that's the Jordan Challenge, which is basically you're trying to replicate those amazing moments from his career, the 10 they've chosen, and then once you finish those 10. It unlocks the creating a legend mode, which is basically the my player mode. Only you take on Michael Jordan starting when he's young and playing through his career. Which one of those two is more interesting to you? Or are you looking forward to the most?
You mean from the Jordan, like playing as
Yeah,
Jordan, or um,
yeah, the Jordan challenge with the trying to meet
uh-huh.
those bar he set in those games, or the actual like my player
You
mode
know,
type of
I think for me, I'm interested in a little bit more of the my player mode rather than playing as Jordan. Like, I don't know, something about playing with him with like as if you're going through the NBA now. To me that just doesn't really do anything for me. I'd rather play as like myself now because it just is a little bit more realistic.
yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of the interesting thing about that creating a legend actual mode is you're taking Jordan, you're putting him in today's NBA. You can put him on any team you want. So if you're a Heat fan, you can you know, as if they need any more
Yeah.
stars on that team, you could put him on there and play as Jordan in that mode. But I think that Jordan challenge with kind of reminds me of the Madden moments in Madden but you're getting to for someone who has that emotional attachment like you do. That's a pretty big thing. And for me, I look at the historic teams and having a Seattle Sonics team there is what gets me. Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. I mean, those are the days that I remember. Those are the height of my NBA interest was back then. And of course, my team has been ripped away from me. So in essence, these NBA games the last few years, it's a bittersweet feeling for me to play them because I don't have that team anymore.
Mhm.
I'm not a Thunder fan, obviously. I don't have that emotional attachment to any team, so it becomes more like I've lost a little bit of interest in not only the games but the sport. Um, Historic teams, Fred. Do you have a favorite Bulls team?
Um, I don't know. I've always liked the very first championship team, the one that beat the Lakers. You ask a lot of the actual players on like Jordan and Pippen, they always tell you that that was their best team. The first three-peat team was the best team. But I mean, the 72 and 10 team, it's really hard not to want to play with them. I mean, they had a bunch of characters. You had Rodman, Jordan, Pippen, and then you just had a bunch of good guys. So. Um, I don't remember. Which of the are all the Bulls championship teams on there? Like, is that
I
team?
think so.
Yeah,
They've got a bunch of them. They've got a bunch of them. I mean, there's way more Bulls squads
yeah,
on there than there are for any
yeah.
other teams.
Any of those teams really. I thought the first championship team was my favorite, and then the second team was probably the one that won 72 games. But I mean, I'm looking forward to just playing with a bunch of those teams. Like you said, the Sonics. You're gonna have
Yeah.
teams with like Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. The Jazz teams of that era were pretty good too. So I've been an NBA fan. I mean, since I was a kid. I grew up in Chicagoland, so the Bulls are all I knew. And I mean, I got lucky enough that as I was growing up, Jordan was on the team, so I was really into basketball. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to just playing with a lot of those teams, just in exhibition mode. So
Yeah, and I think that gives someone like me who doesn't have that team now, it gives something different to play with. And so, um, we look at some of the different changes for this year. They've changed the dribbling controls around, and for me, that's something that's always gotten me as someone who plays both games, but I've stuck around longer with NBA Live than than uh, than maybe some other people have since NBA 2K has become such a big seller. But uh, the dribbling controls have always bugged me. The ISO motion, I've never liked the ISO motion in 2K. That's probably been the biggest stumbling point for me going from live to 2K. Is I like live controls with the dribbling on the right stick.
mhm.
Not a big fan of the shot stick, and it looks like I'm out cold on both games this year. But considering the way they're going, but you also have the dynamic shot control in 2K, which is going to be the ability to kind of adjust your shot using the stick while in midair. You also have PlayStation Move uh, functionality there, Fred. We're huge fans, not exactly, of motion controlling, and in this game, it's probably going to be no good, to be honest. It's going to just be tacked on as far as I'm concerned, and I don't think in team sports motion control works real well. Then we're also looking at online play, which curiously it's been a big weakness of this series the last few years. Curiously, they said they were revamping their servers, their netcode, uh, a long time ago, like right after the release of last year's game, that they were going to do it for this year. But we haven't heard a single thing since. There isn't even an online feature mentioned in the feature list or in any of the blogs that 2K has put out. What's the one biggest thing for you this year in terms of maybe what they're improving on or what they need to improve on?
Well, like you said, online play that's always been number one for me. I used to play 2K5 and 2K6 online quite a bit, and then I kind of just stopped playing online because of the amount of lag and the disconnects, and it just made it really frustrating for me. So, for me, online play would definitely be addressed. I also didn't like a lot of times with NBA 2K how guys would almost get caught up in their animations, like, and that had to do with probably the dribbling, like how you're talking about with that
Mhm.
ISO motion. It's like sometimes I found myself stuck in an animation, missing out on an opportunity to like get past a guy or something like that because he's locked up already. So something like that. But honestly, man, I don't really have too many complaints about this game like a lot of other people do. I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to sports titles. But I would definitely have to say online play. I don't want this game to come out and then hear this crap about, oh, we're so overwhelmed with the amount of people that wanted to play online. That's why our
Oh,
servers suck. Like I hear that about every sports game. It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not you. There's no way they don't have high expectations for this game, especially with Jordan. It's going to be the biggest release ever after last year, which saw a huge rise in sales. Even, um, there's another big thing they changed up this year or worked on, which is the running of plays. Now, me personally, I've never really gotten into running plays in basketball games for that most part. More of a pick and roll, set screen, just try to open up space kind of guy. But it's because last year in NBA Live, I actually liked they had the system where you could run plays for individual players, and that's something that 2K11 has. How do you play? Do you play? Do you call plays a lot? Do you half court offense like in these games?
I try to, mainly because like what you said, running enough pick and rolls and screens only, people consider that cheese in this game. So I do try to run an offense, and then like I think mainly because I've been playing offline a lot the last year or two with this game, I've just tried to run more offense just because I'm mainly playing association mode, you know. So
Hmm.
that's given me an opportunity to really try to run some plays, really try to get some offense going, and then it just translate over whenever I play online against someone. I actually try to run some offense because it does get kind of boring just running up and down the court and having nothing but scoring, because to me that's just not how basketball is played. And then the pick and roll and all that, I don't have a problem personally with that, because you look at some teams, that's all they run, like the Jazz. They really run a
Yeah.
lot of pick and rolls. So for me, that hasn't really been an issue, but I know that playing with diehard 2K fans, they want to play people who run offense and that kind of stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
really mind it.
The Yeah, the other thing I look for in 2K this year, and from the videos, like the one we have going right now, it's the atmosphere hasn't exactly been there for me, and that's something again I look at Live 10 as something really its strength was the atmosphere and the playoff atmosphere and the NBA Finals atmosphere and the crowd interactivity. It's uh, kind of been lacking in 2K. So that's the other thing I'm looking for because the atmosphere is a big thing for me, at least in terms of how much enjoyment I get out of the games just from having been to games. You want to replicate that experience. Um, yeah, we have the demo actually out shortly here. It'll be out on Tuesday. So we'll get plenty of time playing that. I'll record some videos. We'll probably do another video Padre cast for that. Fred, any final thoughts on 2K11 here before we head into the demo?
No, I'll hold off on until the demo comes out. And, there's only so much you could talk about watching a video rather than playing it.
Yeah, of course, the demo will be on kind of a lower difficulty setting, the default setting. So how much we'll be able to get out of that, we're not sure, but at least we'll get into there with Lakers and Celtics. So thanks again to Fred here for joining me for this video Padre cast, and we'll be back soon with yet another. Take care.